welcome to this session. This session titled Evolving Landscape of Luxury in India. Our objective for this panel discussion today is to get strategic insights from our panelists on enablers that could propel the current Indian luxury market to its estimated potential of $200 billion by 2030. This is the estimate that some of the large consultancies have worked and arrived at. Our panelists today are extremely important constituents of the Indian luxury market, having very deep knowledge and experience of crafting multiple success stories. Therefore, my task today is to craft a map for the road ahead with assistance from these expert navigators, if I may call them. But before we embark on this interesting discussion, I thought it may be useful to do a very quick recap from my side in terms of the key themes that I have seen emerge out of the Indian luxury market over the last few years. The first is the fact that as a country and economy, we are having a determined march towards a 7.5 trillion economy. And obviously the benefits of this strong growth and the fundamental macroeconomic factors are having a very beneficial effect in terms of the rising affluence, the increasing internationalization of the Indian clientele, and of course we always have had a very favorable demographics. And this all together is making India a magnet for luxury brands. The second most interesting aspect, as data bears out, is post the COVID reopenings. It seems that the Indian luxury market is inflation proof because we have seen a bit of a K-shaped recovery, as we like to call it as bankers, where the entry segments are definitely getting impacted because of inflation, but we have seen sweltering sales in the luxury segment of the market. And this, in essence, is actually drawing a lot of the international brand houses into India because this could be an antidote for some of the degrowth or very tepid growth that they are witnessing in some of their key markets. Third, we are seeing some large strategic partnerships between Indian corporate houses and global luxury brands. And these have been very, very instrumental in evolving the overall shape of the market. Fourth, what we call as India exclusive offerings. Now, India has always been a market which has required customizations from all brands, and we are increasingly seeing international brands customize or have some very exclusive India offerings. For example, LV's, just to take one example, LV's India exclusive footwear offerings for the Indian wedding season. And finally, I think also the focus to responsible luxury, which is driven by the consumers as well as the global corporate boards in terms of aligning themselves with sustainability. Now with this, let me turn to my panelists for the questions and allow me to just switch on to my questions. So my first question is to Pushpa. Pushpa, while we talk about very often about the potential of the Indian luxury market at $200 billion within a certain period of time, the actual value of the sales are still small relative to other markets. So just to give a comparison, currently the sales are pegged at about $6.5 billion for India. Comparing that with UK, UK is about $14.5 billion, France is about $18.5 billion, China is $207 billion. So the absolute size of the market is small. And it is felt that one of the factors constraining the growth of luxury in India is the high-end retail distribution infrastructure. So as one of the key movers and shakers of the high-end retail supply space in India, I wanted your insights on how you see the market panning out for high-end retail infrastructure over the next 5 years, and what is it that DLF is doing to promote this particular segment?
Good afternoon, everyone. Just after lunch, so we hope we wake you up and not put you back to sleep. Well, that's an interesting question. So the preamble you had stated, the fact that the Indian luxury market is growing and so is the consumer. We have done our own bit of studies. We've seen what BCG is saying, what Bain is saying, etc. The writing is on the wall that the moment for luxury has come in India. And we see not just luxury, for retail overall, the next decade to be the year of retail for India. And as DLF, as a pioneer, we are obviously there, right in the forefront in terms of expansion. And so we are expanding, and we do believe that luxury as a destination has to be curated, crafted very carefully. We got the first, and dare say in North India, the only one, Emporio and Chanakya. Both of them are statement of luxury in the country. We've tried to make sure that the experiences, the brands, etc., have only evolved as time went by. We see that within that Emporio district, we have enough space. We are going to be expanding. We are doubling the portfolio right there. So you will see Emporio 2.0 emerge, which would be almost, 2 times the size of current Emporio. The reason that we will be doing this is because during COVID and post-COVID, even before COVID, we saw a lot of brands knocking on our doors. We have very, very deep relationships with most of the brands, both Italian, French, etc. And we think that with the right environment, the brands will also get enthused. Today, there is one outpost in Mumbai, another outpost here in Delhi. So the brands also have 2 spots to go and expand, and it's not just a single one. That also enthuses them. Important aspects that I'd like to mention is, say, LVMH or, Bulgari or Dior, all of them want more space within the current Emporio. The reason they want is because their sales is more than doubled or tripled over the past 3-4 years. So obviously, the things that have changed for luxury in India, as we have seen the journey, is today, whatever is current in Paris is current at Emporio. So the merchandise is as relevant as it can be. We, on the other hand, have seen the consumers evolve. The consumers are now extremely savvy. They discover digitally, and they come and they're very planned about what they want to shop physically. So we need to be that much more savvy about what we have, what we curate on the racks, and we do take advantage of Gopal's lovely Tata clicks over that, but curation is key. And if we curate it right, be it brands or be it merchandise, we believe that the consumers are ready because they are highly exposed, they're highly traveled, and they know what they want, what is the level of luxury. And the third aspect that I'd like to emphasize upon is millennials. Today, we all talk about millennials and Gen Zs being the next wave for luxury shopping. You can see it physically at an Emporio or a Chanakya because the demographics of people actually consuming luxury is lower. People come in from different parts of the country, especially in North India. They come in from, Punjab or UP. They drive down. For them, it's an outing. It's a great exploration. And people do have the money. They have discovered what they want, and they'd like to see and touch, feel, and experience luxury. So with that in mind, we are expanding our current one. I see that when I look at market as a whole in India, there are 1 or 2 key markets that interest us even beyond the Delhi NCR region. We think that in around 4 years' time, we possibly can have an opportunity to do something in Gurgaon. Because infrastructurally, DLF has expanded and created such beautiful homes now in Gurgaon. It's a whole different city. One would never have thought that apartments can get sold at 100 crore, but it has. So it shows disposable income. It shows also a market that is burgeoning in that part of the city. And we believe that after this expansion, we may well go to Gurgaon in the next 4 years or 5.
So to sum up, increasing coverage, increasing penetration, and being as relevant as it is internationally in terms of the brands and the offerings. Great.
If I may add one more, sorry, is also the fact that luxury brands have adjusted their pricing now. And that's a very important aspect to also emphasize. Earlier, the arbitrage between home country to India was as high as 35% to 40%. Today, you get current merchandise, but you get it at a 15% difference, which the consumer is willing to pay for the superior consumer experience that they're getting, you know, so.
Absolutely. Any given chance to avoid any European airport is welcome.
Yes. Or standing in a queue to buy a 30,000 euro bag.
Staying on this theme of distribution, I come to you, Gopal. Obviously, complementing the physical high-end retail infrastructure is extremely important because, as we said, there is still a constraint. And therefore, the evolution of the e-tailing space as far as luxury is concerned is a very important subject. And you have been at the forefront of this. Now, obviously, Pushpa alluded to certain challenges that people see, get a feel of things, and then come to her shops to buy. But what will be very interesting for me and the audience is to get from you your journey so far, specifically with regards to the consumer behavior in terms of how they are buying luxury through e-tailing.
Yeah, thanks Abrit, and hello everyone. So I actually have worked in physical retail for long, so no Pushpa for long. I'm kind of honored and I'm privileged. I launched the first Chanel door in this country in department store. I launched the first Lancome. I've launched MAC, Bobbi Brown, Clinique, Estee Lauder, all these brands, the first doors in the country. You know, I have kind of been part of training 500, 600 makeup artists in boot camps, okay, where we got director of artistry from the world, okay. We take them to Goa. In one room is eye, one room is lip, one room is, you know, face, okay. And then I think to my career in physical retail, I have opened close to about 100, 140 odd doors, standalones, department stores for these luxury cosmetic brands, yeah. So I have seen how intimate these makeup artists, okay, I'm just taking example of beauty, become with their customers, right? They exactly know where, what foundation, what color will suit you, right? And slowly you start understanding that, you know, NC52 will work for me or NC51 will work for me or what are the kind of things, right? Now, from there, this shift into online. Now what we are, and especially in online luxury, now you start adding a lot of other things like watches, sunglasses, fashion apparel and all that. So how do you do it? Okay, last thing you can do is, you know, grab the consumer's neck and say, no, you buy from me, right? You can't do it. It's not possible, not for me, not for her, not for Reliance, not for anyone, right? It's the consumer's choice. And when you have to sell a product worth 500,000 rupees or 700,000 rupees of a watch, or a 200,000 rupees of a Mulberry bag, which is sold in physical retail by gloved hands, you feel, you touch, you have people talking to you, okay, you are served with, you know, whatever is needed, and you come to online, and what do you see, right? So I want to thank Tarun Tehliani, okay, he showed some brilliant content, right? So when you get into luxury, any which ways content plays a very important role, but in online, content is the mother of everything, right? How do I show the same Cartier watch to the customer, okay, which actually when she sees at, okay, a physical shop, okay, is able to relate and don't find anything that is missing. So so there is something called product page, right? It's called product details page in e-commerce, very last page of, you know, your browsing where you see all the, details of the product, right? So you have to be so careful about that you don't lose writing about the strap, about the dial, about, you know, where the watch is made, how it is made, how are the moments, okay, what is the specific. So in online luxury, okay, creating a fantastic content, fantastic imagery, okay, is extremely important. Okay, I'm keeping it very short. Second thing, okay, by far the most, why will you buy a 500,000 rupee watch from Tata CLiQ Luxury? Right? That's trust. So you have to build trust in online, right? And we know that a lot of fakes happen here and there. So being Tata's, I'm very proud. Okay, so the trust come right there. But yes, there are a lot of other things that you have to build, okay, when you work upon. So like I said, your content, how are you packaging? Because packaging is extremely important, right? Customer relates themselves to packaging. How is my delivery? Who is delivering it? What and how they're able to talk to the customer, right? So I think we prepare for it, okay? You go to a store in Pushpa Bector's mall in DLF, right? And one of the, okay, I wish you that, right? So, so one of the things, okay, so as a customer, I've worked in retail for very long, and I know that if I have to take you to that corner of the store, I build my layout like this, right? I build aisles like this. The aisles will take you where I want you to go. Just go to the next store right now. When you leave from here, you'll realize that how beautifully they have made. You will just reach there where they want to reach you. Same thing we have to do in online. Okay, there it comes, your UI, UX, and your navigation. Where am I taking you? If I want to take you to a particular product, I have to build my whole UI, UX, and the navigation accordingly, which is a big problem because 2 scrolls and 3 scrolls, customer is over. Am I able to show everything in 2, 3 scrolls, okay, to the customer? And luxury, okay, I'm sure all my esteemed luxury partners are here, okay, many of them. Everybody wants to be in front, right? It's the ground floor, right? You put a carousel, 2 are shown, 3rd, 4th, 5th are not shown, your impressions go down. That's a fact, right? So we in online luxury try to not fight, but build a lot of innovations, okay, and ensure that we take the best of technology, we take best of human interventions, okay, and try to build this for the so-called luxury business. And the last thing, personalization, right? The only way I can reach you, okay, if I know who you are. So your behavior is being captured by some 28 people in analytics department that I have, right? Who actually measures how many pages you have gone through, how many seconds you have been there, who are the people who are just dropping out. You are logged in customer, not logged in customer, right? Login customer, okay, how much time is he spending? Are you a COD customer? Are you a, prepaid customer? Then the biggest problem, returns, right? Free returns. You buy a watch worth 500,000 rupees and you return it, right? It's not so easy, and it's not happening face to face. There is a courier. So we make technology. There are boxes which are tampered proof, okay? We sell jewelry. We have sold products worth 40 lakhs, 35 lakhs online. Bless you. Yeah. So the idea was not to make you sneeze, but but that's what luxury is, okay? And I think we are nowhere, okay? I think, like he said, we are saying that 2030, we are talking of $200 billion of luxury in this country. Just 5% of organized people like us, right, gets $10 billion, which is huge. So that's what the whole thing is. Okay, we're trying our level best, okay, to bring that luxury to the customer. I'm sure you know that 53% of the overall wealth today in this country lies in tier 2, tier 3 cities and tier 4, are only the remaining 47 in tier 1. And Tata CLiQ Luxury, 62% of the business comes from non-metros. We sell products, okay, in the cities that you can't imagine. That's the thing we have, right? That digital economy that we are growing. But yeah, I'll keep it there.
Thank you. I think interesting insight for me is the fact that I see you as a bridge to luxury. While the term bridge to luxury is used in a very different context with regards to brands, but specifically for the tier 2, 3 cities, where coming to a Emporio is not always the case. I think this is their first familiarity with luxury that you are able to.
You are basically pointing out at accessibility, right? I think that is given for a digital economy and a scale of the country where you've got 40,000 pin codes, right? We are still able to reach only 27,000 pin codes, Right? And then you have places in Northeast, in UP and Bihar where people buy, okay, and then they buy a watch worth 200,000 rupees and they send you a, a local watch in that dabba where, they even know how to open the tamper-proof packaging.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll shift gear into a different segment of the market now, which is to Ipsita. Your institution is known or is synonymous with luxury. Now, my question to you is from a very different aspect. Now, India traditionally has been a brown spirits market, whiskies, brandies. That's what we have traditionally grown up with, and it's still the significant portion of the market. Now, for Moet to have actually created a niche within this market for their wines business or their champagnes is commendable. Because it, in a way, banked on the changing tastes and preferences, the change in the age group to some extent, the changing international exposure, and you have crafted a story which is great. Now, I'm sure a lot is to happen there, but why don't you give us a trailer of this journey so far?
Thank you for that question, Dibirath, and good afternoon, everyone. I think we've been seeing the trailer since morning, right? The trailer is in your question, the trailer is in all the discussions we've had, starting from Abhi to Tarun. I think coming back to the wines and spirits market, and as you rightly said, we Indians love our whiskey, and it's an 80% whiskey drinking country. Interestingly, Moet Hennessy also has not just wines, but a very big brown spirit portfolio as well, with Hennessy, which is in the name, with cognac, and of course, whiskeys. Well, the trailer that we have seen is a story that we have largely seen in the topmost cone of the pyramid of the demographic of India, which is exposed largely to France and every other Western country and procuring their products, and a lot of the consumption is happening as an imported product. However, as we're seeing this demographic change, we are also seeing a very, very fast growing upper middle class with a huge aspiration. And then there is a marriage that is happening with this aspiration and the desirability that the brands are creating, not just globally, but also in India. I think this trailer I would build in 2 chapters. I think the first chapter is around the 2 buckets of people or the segments of the demographics who is consuming it. One is the ultra luxury and one is more accessible luxury. And then the second chapter is around products which are coming from outside India and getting imported here. And then the products, the luxury products that are getting created in India. We have seen a story of this in fashion. We have been hearing this since morning. However, there is a story of luxury wines and spirits also getting made in India. So Moet Hennessy, of course, has a winery in India called Chandon. And we are proudly putting a sparkling wine in the global map of luxury sparkling wines. So the trailer has just begun to say that to reach out not just to the ultra luxury with our imported set of portfolio, but also to the fast growing middle class in India, we need to make our products very accessible. And to a certain extent, while we create that desirability quotient, we also make it affordable. And wines and spirits is known notoriously for having 150% custom duties, which makes it quite inaccessible. And hence the answer that we have found for now is to make it in India. Create a world-class product in India and give that trailer to our consumers and push them up in the bucket for many other products that LVMH brings into the portfolio in the future.
You made a very interesting point. And the way I would put it is that it's most of the global brands operating in the country also are doing a great job in terms of helping a two-way traffic. And let me explain what I mean by that. So you mentioned taking some of the best produce from India in terms of your segment. This is true also in the case of fashion. For example, our own fantastic designers on their own going and setting up stores abroad, but also working with some of the larger brands to expose the global audience in terms of the high quality of work that our designers are doing here. Also the fact that Indian celebrities are increasingly being embraced as brand ambassadors by some of the brands, talks about a two-way traffic which is evolving very well. But then we come to you, Mevin. So first of all, I start with a compliment that you are probably one of the best dressed men in the room today. So you're looking great. I think, Mevin, when we talk about the growth and the evolution of the market and the significant potential that the market has, one critical element which often gets unnoticed is what will we do in terms of talent, which will man this particular segment. And the challenges that I see are as follows. The absolute size of the market, the luxury market, is not big compared to some of the traditional industrial sectors that we have in India. So that is number one. Number two, the fact that in terms of career progression to senior levels, it's as yet not there for some of the brands because most of that would have regional or global headquarters. And third, lack of training infrastructure. So all this is making choice of luxury as a career difficult to conceive for youngsters. What, in your view, can change this? What are you doing to change this?
Bon après-midi, everyone. Thank you for the question. I think we have a happy, stressed team at Istituto Marangoni, Mumbai at the moment because 5 years ago, when we opened the school, the situation was completely different. When I came back now, we are being bombarded by the industry to send CVs. And even our students who go to study abroad, we have to beg them to come back to India because this is where the jobs are. So they finish their studies in Europe. They're looking for jobs in Europe. Of course, it's more difficult. And here we have so many opportunities. So we are asking them to come back to work in India. So they are fully trained in Mumbai and in Paris, for example. They are mentored by Olivier Roustin from Belmain, who was their mentor last year. And this year is Jean-Baptiste Tavalli. In Mumbai, we had Raoul Mishra. Now it's Dhruv Kapoor. So they are fully well trained, ready for the industry, exposed. But there is a problem. So the problem is they don't want to start with retail. They don't want to start with retail, and what we think in terms of the career department is the pay, first of all, and second is the prestige associated to working in retail in India. So this is a big problem for parents because they don't want to, after sending their kids to study abroad, coming back to work in retail, it's a bit of a challenge, image-wise. So I think, luxury service needs retention and training. So I think creating relationships with customers, long-lasting relationships with customers in terms of luxury, needs a certain type of talent. And to be able to attract and retain this type of talent, something needs to change in terms of the pay, the treatment, and also the image associated to working in retail in India.
Okay, so before I embark on my next round of questions, I'm conscious of the time because one of the tasks which was given to me as a moderator was to make up for the lost time in some of the earlier sessions. I'll try to do justice to that. So for my second set of questions, the panelists and I have agreed to keep our questions very brief so that we'll attempt to take probably a couple of questions towards the end. We'll see how it goes. Repeating the rounds. Pushpa, you touched upon what I'm going to ask you a bit, but probably you can get into a bit of detail. Now, clientele for luxury goods or services in India have equal access to international destinations. These are very well-heeled, well-traveled travelers. What do you think will propel them to buy more in India? What do you see is DLF's role in terms of the infrastructure or probably your wider view on the market that will make them buy more in India as opposed to buying more abroad?
So, a country which is just about emerging a few decades back, going abroad was a big thing. And going abroad and coming back with a suitcase full of goodies was a big thing. That's no longer the case. I think we as a country have evolved. We also as a country have got a certain pride of being Indian, which I wouldn't say was the case a few decades back. These are the two macro issues that I see as a change. Today, an Indian wants to wear something that they have bought domestically with pride. You know, they say, hey, I'm going for shopping because the latest collection has come and so, I want to see it. So the sense of pride of buying within the country, within your city, has increased exponentially. Huge change from a consumer mindset point of view. The second is the fact that, as I alluded upon the fact that the pricing has also become so much more at par. We in India, of course, with the help of great training, we have to inculcate better customer service than what we have today. All the time I talk to the brands, say, how do we improve the service at our shop floor? Because I think if we give the right kind of experiences, curate great events domestically within our properties, then luxury no longer becomes transactional, it becomes experiential. And the moment you make it experiential, you're changing the game completely. Then it is so important for people to belong to a community and to be seen around in that community, which is what I would credit the designers from India, they have managed to do. They've managed to create communities, micro communities, which people feel very proud of. You know, I'm wearing a Rahul Mishra, I'm wearing Gaurav Gupta. That is creation of a community. And that, when it improves and, you know, engages and improves even more, then you're creating geometric progressions in terms of numbers. And that will become the biggest change, I would say, and people will no longer really look at going overseas and buying. No one's going to go overseas and buy a Gaurav Gupta. They would go walk into Emporio and, you know, go in for their trials and have a great experience within the country, within their own city, to experience luxury. Beyond this, I think it's also important to lay emphasis on the fact that the Indian designers, there are so many brands which have grown within the country, and there are luxury brands that are growing within the country, which is also sort of aiding to this cause of luxury consumption domestically. So I would say it's a series of these elements which will, I think, only get better as we move along.
Can I just comment on here? I think in terms of the service, yes, it is a problem. But then I think about luxury hotels in India. I'm sorry, but some of the hotels here have the most amazing service. So what are they doing different?
So, Frank, you know, around 6 years back, we identified the same thing. And we have got most of our cluster heads or operations people are all from five-star hotels. I'm from the Oberoi school way back. So I do believe that the hospitality, you know, in this country has always been way ahead. There are only two countries which are fantastic with service and luxury hospitality. One is Thailand, the other is India. And in India, we've got fabulous schools. So we also are, in fact, the person who is heading Emporio and Chanakya sitting right there, he's from Marriott. And next to him is a person who is from Oberoi. So we believe that hospitality inculcation at an early age is great. But what you did touch upon, the fact that retail on-ground staff don't feel that sense of pride, that really is on us to work harder to make sure that that is not the case. We don't want shop floor staff to be any different to the managerial staff.
Thank you. I think the key operative word from what you said for me is experiential luxury. And as my 14-year-old son puts it so elegantly, both of us are photographers. And he says, Dad, I love the way Leica makes you part with your money. They do it so elegantly. So it is all about the experience that you go for. Gopal, a bit of crystal gazing requirement from your side now. So if I were to ask you to give us a sense of where do you see e-tailing for luxury 5 years from now in terms of the percentage share of the overall market, where do you see it, number one? Number two is also what are your asks from the policymakers and the brands themselves if the e-tailing segment were to grow faster?
So, okay, let me address the first part of the question. I think Abhik in the morning gave some data on luxury market very clearly. Some reports, I keep reading reports all the time because it feels good, right? That it says that 100 billion, 200 billion, 300. It's a kind of market you have. So I saw that the luxury market in India is supposed to be close to about $200 billion, give and take, something here and there. Now, what I see more is that the total number of smartphone users, the total number of internet users, and the total number of social accounts we have in this country, okay, individually are more than the total population of this country, right? That's number one. We're getting into online now. We moved from, in last 7 years, the total number of digital transactions as a percentage in this country moved from 10% to 20%. This year alone, till 31st of October, 84 billion transactions have been done on UPI. And it is predicted that by 2025, you will have more than 22 or 220 million transactions rather on internet shopping. And you'll be surprised to know, if you already don't know, that India, which is a population of 1.4 billion, already have 900 million people who have wallets on internet. Now, it's very difficult to go and penetrate and say that how much of these will be luxury. And to a question which you asked and which I also ask my team members and everyone is that, what is luxury actually? What do you call as luxury? Is it the price point? Is it the brand? Or, it is that category, right? So I think if we do everything, like I said, if you are $200 billion overall, and if you see that, say 5% is online in a period of say 5-7 years, you're still talking about $10 billion, which includes everything, what we're talking about here, and obviously a lot of things what we're not talking here. And in terms of ask, I think one of the very important things which we go through, and I'm sure everybody goes through, is fake products, right? Fake and counterfeit products are a big problem, a very big problem, because that is where we lose the trust, right, in online. Because if you buy a bag, okay, of Michael Kors, and what you receive is not actually a Michael Kors bag, okay, we sell tons of them, it becomes a problem for me, because I lose a customer. My customer acquisition cost is very high, right? So counterfeit products is the biggest problem that this luxury industry faces today. And whatever we can do, as various groups, as part of luxury industry, we just need to see that we do enough representation to the concerned authorities and take enough actions in the coming years so that the counterfeit products are basically being taken care of. I think these are the 2 points I have.
Thank you. Ipsita, coming to a very different aspect now. Over the last few years, we have seen that increasingly the Indian subsidiaries of global corporations, including financial institutions such as us, HSBC, have been some of the biggest PBT contributors in the bottom line. I mean, for example, we are the 4th largest PBT contributor for HSBC globally. In the luxury space, do you see this happen with India actually contributing that significantly to some of the large global brands so as to be, say, the top 5 markets? If so, any time horizon that you see that happen?
Well, I would say for some of our brands within Moet Hennessy, it has already happened.
Fantastic.
Right, like Glenmorangie, which is our whiskey brand, we are in the top 5 markets in the world. Right, so it is a journey for a few categories, it is a journey for a few sectors, but the answer, as Masoom was saying, right, for questions like this is a resounding yes. Right, and it's gonna happen not just because people are gonna travel and get exposed to new brands. Like last year, there were 10 million new passports that were issued. Like post-COVID, India has issued 25 million new passports. right? So people are traveling, people are getting exposed.
Working in India now for 3 years has really pushed me to understand Indian luxury in terms of craftsmanship and the rich heritage that India has. And we are pushing students from year one to go back and research local crafts and develop it in their designs or create business plans for engaging with craftsmen and social responsibility. I think this is super fascinating, and we are working also with the European schools. So I had a colleague who came here for research from the London School, really looking at how we can help communities of craftsmen to innovate and go global, because we've met a lot of craftsmen where the last generation of people are doing this type of craft, and the new generation is working in IT and blah, blah, blah. So really trying to do this as a social responsibility work as a school is personally satisfying for me. And in terms of the outlook, it's amazing. I think we are training students here. We are sending them to finish in Europe. They are fully exposed. They are working every term on industry projects with executives from all the brands possible in different countries. They come here and they are also exposed in the Mumbai school with speakers who come to school to teach them, to mentor them. And we also teach current staff we do corporate training also in terms of history of art, history of fashion, branding, etc. So it's really exciting. We are very, very busy, and I think this is really, as we've been saying today, the moment for India. All eyes are in India. And the school is here, of course, to supply the market with the right talent.
Thank you. I think we may have time for 1 or 2 questions if there are any. Fantastic. Yeah. One question. Okay. Before I come to the closing remarks from the panelists. Any questions? Okay, fantastic. So in that case, I will request the panelists, starting in a reverse order now, for your closing comments on the theme.
Next. Have to think. I think in terms of experiences, for me, it's, as we were talking about staff working in luxury retail, understanding who they are working for and gaining that pride of working for such global, amazing brands. Experiences such as Dior and Chanakya in Mumbai, the whole event, I think, made also staff understand better who they are working for and what they are working for. I know in Mumbai there's an Hermes event also tonight. These type of events really educate the staff, but also our students, to understand better these global brands and how important and beautiful they are and what they stand for. And this is the key to understanding what these brands are about, and then eventually, of course, working for them, but also attracting interest in terms of learning and getting into this industry.
Well, I would say the evolving landscape of luxury in India, the answer lies in what we are doing together today here. Right? Like 200 of us under one roof, pretty much all brands, luxury brands, what's present in India is here. And this is actually instilling the confidence of what luxury is going to do to India, or rather the prospects of luxury in India that we are going to see in the coming months and years to come. And I would not say it's even a decade away, it's here. India's time has come, luxury is here, and that's what all of us have to do together. And the driving force is sitting in the room today, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, so in the midst of all this applause, I want to say that, closing comments, please come and shop on Tata CLiQ Luxury. Yeah. So I think, I really, kind of agree to what she said. We all need to build luxury. We all need to build the confidence in the customers to buy online, of course, offline also. And we really want to work on customer service, customer excellence. India is a country where if you go today to buy a shoe, right, the person who is selling the shoes sit down, okay, take out your old shoe, put the new shoe in, okay, and that's the kind of pampering you get. This is, the epitome of the customer service in this country, right? And I very strongly believe, along with my colleagues, that we want to be one of the best. No, we want to be the best in terms of customer service, retention, loyalty, and build luxury, okay, as a community across the country. And that's it. That's what is our ultimate goal is.
Well, with the entire lot of us sitting over here, of course, please come over and shop at the Emporio. But what I would also like to say is, I think this has set the platform for the fact that India, we are ready. Infrastructure is there. We just want more global brands, global luxury brands to enter the country, because the consumer is ready, so are we as infrastructure developers. We just want more brands to come in, and I think we are seeing the space the way, say, China saw 10 years or 15 years back. We are seeing that situation today, and we believe that when we get in the newer brands coming in, this will become a stronger market than what they had ever envisaged, because domestic consumption is happening in a big way.
Thank you. As far as I am concerned, my closing remarks, this is to the audience which represents almost all the global luxury brands in this room. I think you are already in a market which is so colorful and vibrant, and you have heard each of our panelists being so upbeat about the potential of the market, and the reality in the market is actually surprising most of us. I think the issue here is that we need more, because 250 units of Lamborghini Urus is just not enough for the Indian market. We need more, and that's true for my friend Amit from Richmond, who tells me that he doesn't get more allocation of the watches that he sells. If he got more, he can sell more. So we are in a great place. I know there have been some amount of skepticism about India having lost certain decades, but I think we are in for a great run. And as I said, I'll repeat myself, India today seems to be the antidote for the recessionary winds that is blowing across some parts of the world. So have a great time, not only here in this room today, but in this country. Thank you, and great thanks to my panelists.
Thank you so much, panelists, and I'm sure